Hello again. You will have, by this time, I hope, watched the little explainer about drawing inside the box, thinking of the box as a module with which to construct things, either constructing them within the box, and sometimes, quite possibly, with certain things, actually using the box as a module to construct things. Most important, I think, is using the box as a framework, a framework within which to build a subject. And that subject could be biomorphic and organic, but it makes more sense sometimes if it's something like a house or a car, but you could do it with a head, as I showed you in the explainer, or a human body. And the value of that is because, you know, if you can draw a box in perspective and then you can think of something within that box, you know, contained within that box, you can think of that object in perspective. I also wanted to talk about, in doing this, drawing both observationally and drawing on a perspective grid. I'll show you the perspective grid later. Both of them can, you can think about the box as a frame within which to draw. You know, if I'm looking at this, I hope you can see it, if I'm looking at this vehicle here, I can see the box. And I've got it here, I've actually got it started. I can see the box, the framework within which I can construct this drawing. And I've started, and I'll finish that shortly. But while I'm doing that, drawing is more than just looking at something and drawing. It's a way of exploring form. You know, you need to walk around things and have a look. Same with life drawing, with a model. And you might make many drawings and sketches, or a number of drawings and sketches to fully understand what it is you're drawing, to come up with a final drawing you like, a finished piece, you know, rather than just taking a photo, copying the photo, you know, one kick at the can kind of thing. And if you love drawing and visual art, I feel that, you know, you might, as I do, basically enjoy drawing anything. I even enjoy drawing a box. I could take the most mundane and meaningless object, like a toy car, and draw it, or the car in my driveway. There would be no difference between drawing the two, except I get to look down upon it. So, in order to get the final point of view, I might, and certainly if I'm drawing it on a perspective grid, I will. Where's the perspective grid? I'll want to look at it from different angles. I will want to essentially get various projections of it from different points of view in order to understand it. So, for example, I can look at this. Where's the halfway point? This is the sectional view, as you should know from looking at the prepper. You know, the middle of it is right about here, right in that window there. The wheels are about at the halfway point in terms of height. So there is the center of the rectangle, of the section of it. And you know, notice the wheels are very close to the end here. The bottom rim of the window here is essentially about halfway, about a quarter of the height. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the bottom windowsill of the window. If I look at the front, I can again divide it up accordingly. Imagine this is a piece of, you know, two sides of a polygon, a cube, a box, a rectangular box. And we could fold it here, so this You've seen it in the prep thing, you know, and then there could be a top view. Now, I quickly sketched this and I thought to myself, oh geez, you know, it somehow doesn't look quite right. And then I thought, well, I'll trace it to see, and sure enough, you know, this is slightly smaller in proportion, but you can see that basically it's the same shape truck. This is valuable for me, and when it comes time for me to actually draw this vehicle on a perspective grid, you know, on a box. Now, when I did this drawing, I'm not looking at it. It's a very similar point of view to what I'm seeing here, coincidentally, but it's not the same. So essentially, when I drew this, I'm holding the object in my hand and looking at it and thinking about, okay, well, the halfway point from front to back is right there, but this is foreshortened. So essentially what I have are two very close to squares. You can see the box here that I drew it within. So I've got one square there and one square there. There's the halfway point, the top of the wheels, you know, and I can see that there. So I'm looking at the vehicle in my arm, you know. Now, the perspective here, you know, the lens that I'm looking at with my eyes is not going to be the same lens as the one that's being, in a sense, created by my vanishing points. I could have made the vanishing points further apart or closer together. It's fairly forced. It's more forced in this point of view. That's to say, the vanishing points are closer together than they would be if I drew out what the perspective grid for what I'm actually viewing. But it doesn't matter. What I'm, you know, very often in the classroom there will be people drawing this vehicle or another vehicle on the perspective grid, and they'll be looking at the vehicle, but they'll actually draw it observationally on the grid, and of course it doesn't work. You know, and that's probably my not explaining things properly. But it's hard to do. You start drawing, and then you've got the vehicle sitting down there, and next thing you know, you're looking at the vehicle and drawing it observationally. And of course, the grid that you're looking at is not the same as the actual grid that you're forcing the perspective into of the vehicle. So, you know, there essentially is the vehicle drawn very quickly in perspective on a grid. And just to sum up again, you know, I'm looking at it from all points of view. I can imagine the box here. If I were looking at this way, it's like an orthographic projection. This would be a side section. If I look at it this way, this would be a front section. From the back, a rear section. From the top, a plan. And from the bottom, also a kind of a plan. So I've got these 4 points of view. And each of which is, if I flatten it out, if I don't put it in perspective, you know, if I draw it, you know, with no everything just flattens out straight on the perspective, on the plane of the drawing, it would be a proper sectional drawing. And with that information, so if I drew 4 sides of this vehicle, 6 sides, sorry, top, bottom, 6 sides of this vehicle, I should be able to take that information, and not the car itself, and actually draw it on the perspective grid. And in the classroom, that's something that I get the students to do to varying degrees of success. And I mean, of course, it's something, you only get one kick at the can in the classroom, so it's something that you only get to do once. So I'm just going to, for the remainder of this video, I'm going to, put this in its position, and I'm going to continue drawing it. And you can, basically, I've imagined a box here. Now, I've actually made the box, this top of the box is actually too high now. the actual top of the box is somewhere about here. But basically, I'm measuring angles and proportions. Let me just double check. I'm in the right spot. Maybe I'm not in the right spot. Double check. Yarp. And yarp. Yeah, so now I can just, start to draw. I've indicated what I think to be kind of the center, which is about there. And that is the center of it about here. Let me just measure the proportion of that shorter side to the front. Ooh. Oh yeah. 1, 2. That's about right. About there. So this needs to be, this back part needs to be a bit shorter. I haven't, you'll notice on this drawing, for the grid, I actually, well, you can't, I've erased it. But I actually, made the wheels, did the whole little ellipse thing with, the crisscross up and down. And you could do that. And I can even do that here, but I think I'm just going to wing it because we're short on time. So I've indicated the wheels. I've become, I can look at the ellipse there, and I think I've kind of got it. Sometimes when I do this sort of thing, I'll actually build the wheels first, and imagine them coming through the car to the other side, like a Flintstones car, as one big roller, just so that I can be sure to get everything correct. Something to consider is, if I look at it in plan, this interior roof is much smaller than the width of the vehicle. It's not like a little wooden car where the width of the roof is the same as the width of the vehicle. And even this is less. So we've got a kind of a streamlining kind of look there, which is nice. So I've brought this roof in. As I'm drawing this, I'm watching the shape from my point of view in here of the back of the truck. Of the back of the truck, and I'll just continue to draw here. I'll measure the angle of the supporting beams on the door. All very sketchy, of course, as you can see. I'm a very messy drawer. I'm not one of those people, and I've met them, who can just kind of bam, 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 bam. Picasso, I didn't meet Picasso, but I've had people like him. He worked in animation, you could just like draw things like this. And beautifully, but I labor over things, and I sketch things and make them very sketchy and messy. And as I might have mentioned before, if you were doing a finished final drawing, you would lay some tracing paper or have a light table and shine it through, and then you could clean your drawing up. Do a nice clean line drawing, which you could then transfer to watercolor paper or something. I had to think seriously about getting these lines. I could double check them. Yeah. Here. I hope you can see this. It'll be disappointing if you can't, or maybe it'll be a relief. Now, of course, I could, I'm doing it this way with this kind of sketchy, building it up, adjusting. I'm doing this because I want to get as accurate a drawing as I possibly can of the vehicle. So I don't have to draw like this. You know, I could in fact just kind of wing it and you know, in a kind of a, you know, in a kind of a contour drawings type of thing, and I could allow things to be a little bit off, you know, if I was sketching, you know, just draw it with lines and not having it completely exact. And there would be a kind of a charm to that, you know. And, you know, sometimes I draw like that, and I don't worry about things being distorted or incorrect, so to speak. The thing is that it's one thing to deliberately distort what you're looking at, you know, to have a choice. But if you distort things, you know, if you distort things because you are simply incompetent and don't know how to draw accurately, you have no choice in the matter. I suppose that's authentic, an authentic kind of drawing, but it's not the kind of, it's not exactly how I want to be. I want to be competent as well as authentic.